Hits per pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Coast, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today with so many things going on in the world, besides all the identity thing of how people want to be identified, how the rest of the world is against the United States, so on and so forth. We're going to get into the future. The future of us human beings, for that matter. God willing, everything works out, right? But there's also a thing like technology. Like I've spoken on this channel before, I've spoken about technology. And the funny thing about it is that whenever the conversation is brought up, I notice the human interaction with people, how mentally they try to disregard it, kind of like, or kind of like, it's whatever, or it's going to be a long time. That's exactly what they'll say. Oh, it's going to be a long time from now. That is actually not the case. It is upon us here. It is here. It's being tested. It'll be here before you know it. People are not getting prepared for that. Just a few years ago, fast food employment or employees were asking or demanding for $15 an hour, right? And they were granted. And then what happens? You walk into the establishment now and you order through a menu, a computerized menu, and or you order through your app. So there goes the employee, right? Self-driving semi-trucks, self-driving buses that are being tested. And when I say that, sometimes people say, oh, dude, you just, whatever their opinion is. Oh, it's going to be a long time. It's here. It's here. It's a reality. And that's just not, not the thing to take for granted. Because it's taken away. Like, go figure this. Like, especially in the area that I live in out here in the Salinas Valley, people always said, hey, well, listen, if they take away all the Hispanics or Mexicans, Latinos, or however you want to call it, I'm not trying to offend anybody, who's going to pick the crops in the field? I'll dare say that there's machinery now. I've seen it a little bit to where it minimizes the human interaction. Now, getting into that, I've seen a lot of people and have conversations with people who sometimes say, oh, but you're going to need human interaction anyway because computers break down. And, like say an establishment, a fast food restaurant or a restaurant for that matter, you just go to the drive-thru and get served by a computer, right? Oh, but what happens if the computer breaks down? You're going to need interaction. It's not going to last. It hasn't been perfected yet. That's one thing. Number two is you got to take into consideration. Let's just say, okay, look, I'll bring you all up to speed in case you haven't seen it yet. I saw online that there's a fully generated computerized McDonald's now with no employees whatsoever. You order through your app, you go through the drive-through, or inside, and everything's just computerized, right? People want to argue that, but that's not gonna last. Again, that's not gonna last, so on and so forth. That they're gonna have to get somebody in there to fix it, and it's gonna cost them more, and it's gonna, what happens? Let me put it to you like this: the freaking ice cream machine is always broken at McDonald's. So what's the difference, right? But seriously, let me say this much. Think about it. This is the thing that a lot of people, it skips their mind, right? We're talking about a $1 billion company, corporate company, right? A couple of thousand to fix a computer, if it breaks down, is really nothing to corporate, right? And I say that to say this. Think about it. You have, say, 8 to 10 employees, right? You're paying them all a salary. Regardless of what it is, you're paying them a salary. If they get hurt on the job, you have to pay, workman's comp and so on and so forth, right? There's insurance and all this other good stuff that comes along with it. It's not just hiring the employee. There's a lot of money behind that. It's a lot cheaper, way cheaper, to have a computer that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about it that, hey, you know what? This person's going to slip and fall. This person's, calling in sick. Again, if the computer or whatever breaks down, guess what? A couple of $1,000, whatever it is, hey, it's a lot cheaper than paying somebody for the full day. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, at the end of when you look at the overhead and all this other stuff, right? They're going to save themselves even more money and make themselves way more money doing it like that. They're not the only ones, though. With that, it's going to come the rest come with it. You start off, you start off with one franchise, it goes into the next and to the next, and then before you know it, it's everywhere, right? And the biggest problem is that people try to disregard stuff all the time. Like, oh, well, it's not going to happen. It's going to be a long time. And here's the deal, guys. Just because you ignore it does not mean that it ceases to exist. Okay? It's happening. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it is happening. There's a robotic dog now for people who need guidance. So not even dogs and pets are getting eliminated. Why? Because you don't have to pay for the animal for the training. You don't got to pick up after it. Everything's being at our ease, for that matter. You know what I mean? Everything's being handed to us to where nothing anymore. We don't have to interact with people, which, in a sense, if you think about it, we've been in training for that. We've been in training for quite a few years, since MySpace onto Facebook. There's no more human interaction. There's very little, if anything. People are on their phones, tablets, so on and so forth. People do not interact with each other. So when people, throw up a big old fit about, hey, well, there has to be human interaction. What are you talking about, bro? There hasn't been any. There's been minimal human interaction. Self-driving cars now, because people drive like idiots, right? Everybody wants to be first. Everybody wants to speed up. Everybody wants to do this. There's self-driving cars again. There's self-driving cars, self-driving semis, self-driving buses. Pretty soon, guys, it's all, everything that we have that we feel is of value is going to be obsolete, right? Like our phones. When you first get, oh yeah, I paid this much for the new whatever. 6 months down the line, 8 months down the line, it's worth peanuts compared to what you bought it for, because you want to be ahead of the game. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, be ahead of the game this time, because there's a lot going on with technology. We are going to be eliminated as human beings. To where, picture this, like now you have, for example, say, for example, you have a bus driver, right? Or truck driver, whatever, right? Or let's just say a bus driver, for that matter. And it's going to fall into everybody else that's a commercial driver. And you have to obtain a commercial driver's license, take the physicals, take the test, do all this other good stuff, right? All the fun stuff. But anyways, so now with the self-driving vehicles, let's just talk buses real quick. It's going to be self-driven. And people say, well, there has to be somebody on board to make sure that people don't misbehave or whatnot. Oh, so you mean a security guard? Because people are going to lash out at the heat of the moment. It doesn't matter who's on board. They're going to lash out. It's just a fact. But it's be filled with cameras, sensors, and all this other good stuff, right? I'm sure it's not just going to be by itself. What I'm getting at is, say for example, okay, look, I'll confess something to the universe. I own a commercial driver's license, right? So I have to go through all the procedures and do all this other stuff to be able to drive a commercial vehicle, a bus, right? So now with the self-driving buses, you'll just sit in front of a computer and make sure everybody's behaving, or whatever it is, as far as, say, for a school bus, right? So what happens after that? Any Tom, Dick, and Hank could come in, not even obtain a commercial license no more, because you don't need it. All you're going to do is sit down in front of the computer and make sure that everybody is seated and everybody's behaving appropriately. Does it sound far-fetched? Hey, maybe so, guys. Maybe so. But again, it goes into, when you think about Terminator, the movies Ex Machina, Blade Runner, iRobot, AI Intelligence. There's just so many more to name, right? If you really want to go old school a little bit, you think about, say, 007, James Bond 007, right? A lot of his gadgets, they no longer look far-fetched to have, because we've caught up to the modern technology. It doesn't seem that far-fetched anymore. And with that being said, guys, what I'm saying is we are a lot closer than a lot of people think we are. Beware. Look around. Pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Pay attention to what's happening when you walk into an establishment, when you walk into a Walmart and there's self-checkout. How many employees have they let go of? I know of one, because I knew this person worked there for years. And they let go of him because, hey, guess what? You're not needed anymore. So with that, guys, just want to give you food for thought. Okay? Don't ignore it, because it's not going to go away. Okay? Embrace it. Make it work for you. That's all I got to say about that. This is Two Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, signing out.